So on that last play on Sunday, where Gino takes off right,
Yeah,
at what point did you know he had that?
when he left. I knew they were running with the guys, so once he took off, I felt pretty good he was going to get it.
Did you give him that play call?
Well, I gave him the play. I didn't tell him to run, but but Gino's got a really good sense for that. He's got great pocket awareness, and yeah, it was not surprising at all. He's done a good job of that this year.
What did that win mean for the process that you guys have been working through and working on this year?
It meant a ton. I just think, obviously, anytime you put that much into a game plan, and we put a lot into the season in general, but all the things that I think the guys were up against, for how many losses in a row. We'd added San Francisco and the narrative that went with that. I thought just the guys, buying into the process, and they could have really hung their heads and stayed behind with some of the things that had happened, losing some tough games. And I thought it started with the bye week, though, that they had the right attitude. When they came back, they were ready to get into the work and find the things we had to improve on, and they attacked it. And I think that game was a response to that.
What kind of step forward did your offensive line take?
Oh, I thought they played really well collectively. I thought Olu did a really nice job of just, being able to step into that role and communicate effectively, and kept them on the same page. And I thought that was, the biggest starting point. And Olu certainly did a good job of that.
How big a step forward?
Did Olu meet your expectations or exceed your expectations in how he played?
He met them. I mean, I think we've all seen enough of Olu that we weren't surprised that he went out there and played well, and kind of know the things that Olu has excelled at since we've been here. And I really think I think I told you guys that a few weeks ago, he's improved a lot. I think he took a lot of ownership when Connor came in and got the job. I think there was, kind of honestly a reflective time there for Olu where he dug in and, kind of looked in like, okay, what are the things I got to get better at as a player to be a center or a starting center in the NFL? And I think you saw the fruits of that labor over the last couple months.
What were those things that he had to get better at?
Well, I think for Olu, just the sense of urgency and physicality and, just the attack mentality. The intelligent piece has always been there. Olu's a really, really smart player. I think he really worked on his base and his second step, and those are, hand placement, all the little things that can get you beat on the inside. But everything that was showing up in camp that we had addressed with Olu, I think he attacked every one of those things.
Ryan, going to the physicality, was your offense more physical last game? I talked to Jaxon, and he said, for him, playing physical, it just gets him. Was there a step forward from the bye week in intense?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the style of the football game was certainly physical, and I thought the guys, matched that. But I think that that's something that we're growing in the consistency of that. I think that you could look at every game and find some moments there where offense played really, really physical. I don't think we've played a complete game in that sense yet, but we're getting really close, and I think the guys are putting that together. And there's some guys that do. They play every single snap, super physical, and so we're just trying to get that to where that's the standard, and we hold it every play, every game.
What does that help in the finishing then? When you're physical, you're more able to finish. Is that the correlation there?
Yeah, there's a part there, and then you keep tension on the body and the spirit, and then your mind will follow, right? So if the guys are physical and they know how strenuous that situation is going to be, there's just an alertness to you, in those moments that you're going to go all the way through the whistle and finish the play and things like that. And I think that creates just a level of focus that you need to have, that you're very intense with the moment.
Jaxon had 4 of the receptions on that last drive. What does it tell you about him as a young player? He's coming through in moments like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's ever been a game where I would have been worried about, throwing the ball to Jaxon in a really big moment. I think that's exactly who he is. I think we're really blessed to have some, a couple veteran guys that obviously have made a lot of those plays. And then Jax is a guy that certainly is capable of making that kind of play at any moment. So just really excited for him. He's really starting to show what we know he is.
Yeah, just had the false start on offense. How did you guys go about emphasizing
I wish I could say it was a 1-week process, but it really has been. I know you'd love to say we just cleaned it all up in the bye week or in 1 week, but the emphasis has certainly been there. I think some of the accountability, both in the coaching staff and the players, has risen a little bit, and I credit the guys for buying into the work that they had to do to get the level of focus, and then also the coaching staff for putting a plan together. And when you step on the field, knowing that you're very confident that the guys are going to have the ability to execute and not pause and have those moments. So I thought we did a good job of just not pushing it onto the players like it's just their fault, and just everybody trying to own their territory and do their job and get better at it.
When you think back to week 1, how have you changed learning Geno Smith as in the game? How has that changed the play calls, game planning?
I don't think I've changed. I think any play caller has to be ready to be adaptive to, how well your offense is playing or executing in certain portions, both with either personnel or lack of personnel at moments, just being able to be somewhat adaptive and find that identity. I think the thing we've done is try to find a little bit more consistency in the big things, which is the penalties and turnovers, and honestly, it always goes back to that. I don't think from my standpoint I've ever changed that. You have to earn the ability to be explosive, meaning you have to be able to stay on the field. You can't have penalties and not execute on third down. You just have to have more opportunities. And when you're punting all the time or getting behind the sticks with penalties and turnovers, and I don't have the guys in the right mindset to execute at a high enough level, then you have to punt the ball, and you're not going to have those big opportunities. So I think that these last couple weeks, even the Rams game, have shown some opportunities to do that. Obviously, you just got to keep taking care of the football and making really good decisions.
How did you evaluate the way Abe played?
Really good. He's super physical. He's got the right demeanor on the sideline. It was noticeable, just his intent and his mindset. He's a very intense guy, loves playing. It was great to have him back. I was actually really impressed with his ability to sustain on that last drive, because I know that it was hard, and just when you get into longer drives like that and you're not in game shape yet, it's certainly tough. So I think it speaks a little bit to his demeanor and the type of mindset that he does have. But he played great. He didn't play perfect, but we were all really, really impressed. And I think, moving forward, he's going to be a big-time difference maker for us.
Do you think he's ready to handle a full snap load right now?
Yeah, I think he is. I think we're going to, let him go out there and eat and see what he can do.
You've got a background on offensive line, and you talked about how important the run game is getting into this season. What's it going to take for the run game to take its next step forward?
Yeah, I think, again, the consistency and the execution of, the scheme as far as, can we run off the ball when the play calls for it? Can we execute double teams and sustain those blocks to get Kenneth and Zach, free? And I think we're doing that on a more consistent level. Even at practice over the last 3 weeks, I really think we've taken, some big steps in gaining that consistency, because that's where run games falter very quickly when your lineups are shifting, people are moving around, things like that, and guys are not consistent in their execution. You don't have time for that. You lose gaps on the inside, and TFLs happen quickly, and all of a sudden you're leaning on the pass, and bad things are happening.
Can you talk about the paradox a little bit of needing to decide when to call a run play when the running plays aren't working that well, but you need to run in order to get better at it?
Oh, I think there certainly is that can be a tough proposition at times. I think you're playing the whole game into account, meaning, where's the clock at? What's the score? How's the defense playing? How much time do we have to use? And then there's a point in time where, certainly some games earlier in the year where we got behind and we had to let the pass game take over a little bit. And those are the times that you get excited thinking about what the offense can do, and you can create some of that balance, and teams don't know what's about to happen. So it's just a management every series, honestly. You're really evaluating exactly where you're at, what's going on with the time of possession, things like that. And at the same time, knowing calls you've made and things that you want to try to change in the narrative of the game. So there's certainly a spirit of that is a chess match that you love, that's really fun and sometimes really frustrating.
What steps do you think you guys took in short yardage run game, and how did being under center help?
We've been under center for a lot of our short yardage this year, so that hasn't been, completely the issue. I was actually disappointed. That was probably the one thing I was disappointed in. We had two opportunities there. I thought Gino got it on the sneak. He was a little bit short, and then we came back with a heavy package that we weren't able to knock him back off the ball in that opportunity. We certainly could have gave the guys a little better option, maybe on a wider gap or something like that. We had plenty of plays in that we could have executed in that moment, and unfortunately we came up short. So I think you always go back to the drawing board, and you're super critical of what you could have done to put your players in a better position to get that. And I know the guys have the same onus that they felt like we should have been able to execute and get the play. So for us, I think that certainly under center has a lot of advantages in those moments that the defense has to honor.
Has there been any consideration to using Byron Murphy in short yardage?
Yeah, that him. Let's see, I talked to him, Jay Reed, Leonard Williams, those guys all. And I said that they were going to have to meet with upper management before I would talk to them. So I don't think that anybody would be too excited if they were in the backfield. So I would love to. Huh?
Was that them coming?
Oh, it's the O coordinator from junior high football to NFL. Like every defensive lineman or anyone that has ever caught a football is going to have some type of conversation with the OC. So.
They want the ball.
No, actually, Leonard would love to.
Oh, okay.
He would love to. Now he wants to waggle pass off of it too, but
Murphy did do a
he did. No, and he's pretty effective too. So yeah, never know.
Is Kenny
Never know.
McIntosh pushing Zach Charbonnet at all for snaps?
Say again.
Is Kenny McIntosh pushing Zach Charbonnet at all for snaps?
Not at this moment, but I do think that K-Mac has improved a lot. I think Zach is a really, really good running back. We're actually really lucky with the two guys we have in the 1 and 2 spot that are either one of those two guys could be a 1 in the league. So not yet, but he's working hard.
Anything else, guys?
Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.